Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with the Maths Mess, honey. Season 13, episode 13. Unlucky number 13. This is some foolishness. Do y'all hear me? Like, I don't even know how to articulate the foolishness that is this season of Married at First Sight. Honey, I thought season 12 was a roller coaster ride. Child, the spirit of Chris is all up and through this season. And then Bauer's getting paged every 5 minutes. Yes, I said paged. Honey, when somebody treats you like Chris, then you have to say they've been paged. Child, if you are new here, then welcome. I'm so sorry I'm being so rude, child. The other people know I put the zhuzh on it, but you're new here. So welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you are back for a 13th time, then thank you so much for coming back. Child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. Child, when the episode first opens up, Zach and Michaela in his bare chest, they're in bed, and he's joking that Michaela is a bum. Okay. And Ryan is showing us the nastiness that Brett brings. He says the mess is very alarming to him. Well, child, everything about this season is alarming. So join the club. Mirla and Gil are on the treadmill. He says they have less than an hour to go. Mirla looks over like, what? Did you add 30 minutes? He's like, girl, just calm down. Honey, moving forward. 17 days until decision day. We see Johnny, okay? Like, just the mere sight of Johnny now makes me want to cuss. Honey, I really try not to. I haven't felt that urge since Mr. BMW himself last season. Y'all know I called Chris that. BMW stands for Body Made Wrong. That's exactly how I felt about him, especially after all the Asian queens and white queens and black queens that he could have had. So now it's Johnny's turn. And I really hated to do it, but y'all, I'm gonna have to get into it as I get into it. So anywho, we see Johnny playing pool. Ryan and his tank top, they come down to join. And so Johnny tells us he feels like Bao is making an effort. Yes, Bao needs to work to keep you interested. Okay. So then Ryan asks how things are going, right? He's like, we went bowling last night. We were high-fiving. Things were good. Just a whole bunch of positive stuff, right? And it felt natural. It felt good. So in this moment, he likes her. Okay, I need everybody to keep up because, he's hot and he's cold. He's in, he's out. I just don't know what to do. So we got to make sure that we're keeping up. So in this moment, he likes her. Let's see how long that lasts in this episode. Moving forward. Ryan said, I just can't force it no more. I tried for a few weeks, but it doesn't feel real. Ryan, what exactly did you try? The two of you just sit there and look at each other. And then when she says something, you say, I don't know. And then when you say something to her, I just don't understand it. Okay, so what have you tried? Y'all don't even know each other's last names probably. Like we're in the same space we were when we were on the honeymoon at the couples table having dinner. You mean you looked at her and she's physically not your type? So you checked out. Honey, let's just call a spade, okay? So Johnny asks if it makes him sad. Oh, yeah, Johnny, because we know you're going to cry in a minute. Do you hear me? He said, no, she hasn't done anything wrong. He says, I feel like I didn't do anything wrong either. At least I don't think I did. Here go, Johnny. I feel that too. Johnny, cut it out, honey. Y'all are not the same, okay? So then Johnny goes, yes, she feels like I don't appreciate what she does when I don't see her doing anything. This week she's trying, though, real hard, maybe too hard. Now you're complaining about the amount of effort? Johnny, you little twerp. What is wrong with you? I'm convinced you just like to nag and complain about something. Actually, you have the spirit of Mirla in you. Okay, because people were talking about how Mirla complains and nags and whatnot, but she doesn't break down her partner. Okay, she's complaining because the accommodations were subpar at best. But this man over here is complaining about everything that this woman does. So Ryan said, I get the trying too hard thing. Just ignore all the issues and keep chugging along. So that cracked Johnny up. So he's laughing. Ha, 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 ha. Boy, hush. Ryan, don't co-sign Johnny's madness. Okay, we the people. We aren't feeling Johnny, okay? Bao is being paged by Chris 2.0. You don't want to join into that group, okay? So don't go co-signing Johnny, okay? Because we don't like him out here in TV land, just so we're clear. Moving forward, Johnny said, can you ever just look past all the negative things and focus on the positive? Ryan said, no, that's not real. But that is true though. You can't just overlook things that you don't like. But I do understand trying to see more of the positive than you see negatives. Because a lot of times, if you just sit down with a piece of paper and write down a column that has negative and positive, majority of the time, there's a lot more positives than there are negatives. So, anywho, he's like, it's not how you go through life. You can't just disregard the bad. He said, me and Ryan hang out a lot, and sometimes he's very negative about the situation, and it's not helpful. Okay. Johnny has got to be on some type of dog food. He gotta be. You are the poster child of negativity. Pot, meet kettle. Ciao, goodbye. Moving forward. Ryan said he's not trying to discourage Johnny. He said, look, I'm not trying to discourage you. Johnny's like, I think maybe I should start showing my appreciation despite all the red flags. I do feel like there's some positive stuff there. Johnny, Halloween's coming up. You need to dress up as a walking red flag for Halloween. Honey, I always saying some stuff. Child, this don't make no sense. So what I want you to do is go down to the local Party City and see if they have any red flag costumes. Because, honey, you scream red flag. Johnny and Bow. So he gets home. Bow is in there flossing her teeth. Bow, bow, bow. Boom, 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 boom. Shout out to Hurricane Chris. Let me tell y'all something. I'm going to always do that when I speak about Queen Bow, because guess what? Bow deserves to be recognized, especially after dealing with a man like Johnny. Now, child, let's proceed. So she flossing her teeth and whatnot, getting her dentals together, and Johnny comes in saying how he shouldn't have talked to Ryan because, I'm in a better place than he is in my relationship. Well, honey, if this is better, what does his relationship with Brett look like? Because, y'all, this right here is a fool. Of course, when it's time to eat, when it's time to sleep, times of the day when it really should be peaceful, Johnny always finds a way to have a tough conversation. So they're sitting in bed while he has this old raggedy t-shirt on, honey. Then the collar of it is stretched all the way out. Even the collar of your clothes are stressed out. You're stressing everybody out. Child, it's a fool. So they get in bed. He said, looking back, they lack trust, friendship, and communication. He said, would you agree? Trust, definitely, honey, because I wouldn't trust you at all. Wouldn't trust you as far as I can throw you. But proceed, because this is the thing. As soon as she gets comfortable, you start the bow slander. Communication, that's all y'all do is talk. I mean, you may not be communicating in a way where it comes across where a person would actually want to listen to you, but y'all gonna communicate, okay? So Bow said, no, I disagree, because going into a marriage for pure friendship is counterintuitive, to wanting romance and things like that. She said, when we get into these fights and, Johnny feels like the emotional intimacy was lacking and they needed a spark, they met with Dr. Viviana and she was giving them an idea of what they should do. Instead, they were talking all of that out. He said, well, the thing is the physical part. I don't feel anything from it. Yeah, I paused for a minute. He must be out of his mind. Poor Bow. I don't know how you can just put up with it, honey. I really don't. I really wouldn't even want to be next to him. Like the fumes that will be coming from me, I just don't know if I would be able to just sit idly by and listen to him spew out this negativity day after day after day. So Bow said, don't give me that BS. This is what she said in her confessional. He said, I'm doing it just to do the motions. She said, I know there was a spark there. So then they showed 36 days earlier where the sparks were flying. Honey, it was all those hugs from Jose. That's what it was. Honey, he ain't fooling me. Bob said, I don't know if he sees the hypocrisy of it all. Honey, he doesn't see anything outside of Johnny. Johnny said, I just want to take the sex out of it because I'm not there yet. Bow, don't even sweat that vanilla sex being retracted. Okay? You're missing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Honey, you need something with a little bit more seasoning if you catch my drift. Moving forward. He said, physical intimacy is a byproduct of, attachment. Are you saying Bow is going to attach herself to you if y'all have sex? Honey, it's already been done. Plus, y'all are married. Are you insane? I'm convinced that this season is a season of lunatics. I'm just convinced, honey. Y'all can't tell me nothing else. I said what I said and I'm not changing it. Like, this is just crazy. So Bow said, do you feel this approach will work for you? And he said, yeah, I feel like it'll work for me. She said, well, a marriage consists of us both. She said, and I feel like I'm being forced to just go along with what you want. Good job, Bow, honey. You speak your speech. You speak up for yourself, honey. Don't let him railroad you with his emotions. You got to feel what he feels and thinks what he thinks. He wants y'all to be Siamese twins. Honey, it's a fool. Moving forward. So he starts sighing. He's like, oh my gosh. Because he's getting upset. Okay, and his level of upsetness is upsetting me because I'm trying to figure out why you can't have a simple conversation without blowing a gasket. So he starts sighing. He's like, I don't know what to tell you. So then he gets up and he's like, this is unbelievable. We really don't have to do this. We really don't. No, you don't. I know if it were with you, I wouldn't do it. Okay, that's me personally. And Bow, you don't have to do it. Okay, she's like, why are you leaving? We're just talking. He's leaving because he's used to you taking whatever he dishes out. How dare you stand up for yourself against this tyrant? How dare you have an opinion, Bow? What is wrong with you? She said, Johnny isn't happy because he doesn't want to be happy. And she feels if he doesn't get his crap together, then he's never going to be happy in any relationship. Baby Bow has found her voice. I knew it was in there, honey. It was only a matter of time because it's only so much a person can take. So let's continue to get into it as we get into it. So Johnny is in there and he's saying little things to himself. He likes to talk to himself and whatnot. She said, he said, I have a lot to say, just a lot of things I want to say. She said, okay, well then say it. So he comes back to bed. He couldn't have gotten back in bed with me. Okay. We would be having a Zach and Michaela argument because I would be in that second bedroom until decision day. You will not get back in bed with me. Like, no, that's not how this is going to go. So Johnny is BSing, saying he wants to get to know her. This man has thought of 1,000 different ways to complain about this woman and 1,000 different ways to distance himself from her. You want out and just say that point blank and the period, end of the story. He's like, friendship has been working. So then Bow tells him that she's at a point where she doesn't know if she can work through certain things. And then he starts looking crazy. Ciao, goodbye. Mirla and Gil. Gil goes to meet with Pastor Cal and he said, so how's it going, Gil? Gil looking at him like, I'm ready to take your spot. Child, Gil looking for a job, honey. He's sick of that firehouse, honey. It ain't paying the bills. He said, now that I got my kiss, I'm doing great. So he asked why he thinks that they were matched. He said, I feel like Mirla is very caring and she's passionate and we get along very well and she's very direct. So Pastor Cal said, okay, so what about decision day? Are there any unanswered questions that would make you say no? He said, well, when she gets to complaining. Okay. Pastor Cal said, well, do you think her negative tantrums will be too much for you? He said, yes, I think they will be too much for me. He said, but I told her your little Spice Girl attitude will not affect me. Now, he didn't actually say Spice Girl attitude, but y'all know I like to zhuzh it up. So Mirla, honey, she got lit before meeting with Dr. Pepper, right? And baby, I'm hollering. When I tell y'all I cackled so good, she's like, yeah, I had 25-cent martinis. Now, I'm not quite sure where they're having 25-cent martinis at, but Mirla, honey, hit me in the DM and please let me know. Moving forward. Baby, Mirla came tiptoeing in from the wrong side. Dr. Pepper was like, I think you're supposed to come from over there. She's like, oh, that's a long walk, girl. Child, I was hollering. I said, it is something wrong with Mirla. It is really something wrong with her. So Dr. Pepper said, okay, well, that's okay. You're here now. She said, I know you've been out partying with your friends and you're really smiley. And I just want you to know that you aren't sober yet. Child, baby, Dr. Pepper said, look, lady, you're not about to play in my face. I know you've been throwing a few back and we're not about to play them games, child. Everybody in the club getting tipsy. Child, Mirla said, let me take the edge off, honey. These people are not about to worry me. Honey, I know that's right, child. Moving forward. So then she asked Michaela, what are the questions she wants to ask Gil that would lead to her being comfortable on decision day? She said she will want to know what she can do better. Dr. Pepper said, well, I know you're a very critical human being. And so then they flash back to her at that old folks home on the honeymoon. And Mirla said she doesn't really have a filter. Well, honey, well, we saw that. Child, I'm trying to listen to Mirla, but this Kool-Aid smile on her face and her laughing at Dr. Pepper got me hollering. I was trying so hard to focus on what she was saying, but child, the fact that she is loose as a goose, don't get me started, full of that liquor when she step off in the party. Honey, I couldn't even focus. I said, this girl here is a mess. Do y'all hear me? So anywho, I'm trying to focus on what she's saying, but I really cannot. And so Dr. Pepper is looking at her like this little tipsy heifer. But listen, Dr. Pepper sobered her up real quick. And by the way, hey, Dr. Pepper, thank you for showing up, okay? We needed you a long time ago, but I'm starting to think that Dr. Pepper's contract calls for her to come right before decision day. Because she's probably told them, look, I'm getting older, honey. I do not have time for the foolishness. Y'all are not about to run my pressure up. So call me when it's close to decision day, and I'm going to come in and reinforce what Dr. Viviana and her fashion overdress and Pastor Cal and his glasses have already done. But hey, girl, nice to see you. So she's like, the constant criticism can hurt a marriage. So if you don't cut it out, you're going to be by yourself. So then she asked Mirla, do you feel grateful that he's in your life? She said, I do. She said, I told him just this morning that I was really grateful for him and everything that he's done for me and how good of a husband he is. So then she gets emotional and says she didn't think she would be so happy in her marriage. So Mirla is a crier after a few drinks. You know, you got some people that are goofy. You have some people that get angry. You have some people that cry. And Mirla has literally exhibited every single behavior since she sat down in this seat. Child, I'm just happy to see her having a good time. So then Dr. Pepper is like, well, let me make sure this heifer heard me, okay? Listen, if you don't get rid of the negativity, you could lose him. Well, honey, I'm happy for you and Gil, okay? I'm happy to hear that. But all you need to do is make sure that you're not tipsy before decision day. Moving forward, Michaela and Zach. Michaela goes to lie to Pastor Cal, honey, because y'all know how she like to do when she gets somewhere. And she tells him that they've had 3 weeks of bad times and 1 day of good times as far as I'm concerned. She said 1 week, but I feel like it's only been 1 day. And that was the day that they had that anniversary and the piano was there and whatnot. And then they got it popping and then they got hungry and then they went to get something to eat. That's the day. Let's continue. He said, okay, but decision day is coming. Pastor Cal said, why do you think y'all were matched? She said, you know, we're both goofy. Well, these fights definitely scream goof troop. So you got that part right. She said they're both ambitious and strong-headed. And Pastor Cal said, so what are the unanswered questions you have for Zach? She said, I want to know what kind of picture did he have of marriage? Pastor Cal said, that's an awesome question. So what are you expecting from your relationship? She said, I just want him to be happy. So Pastor Cal said, explain that. Like, explain what him being happy means. Pastor Cal said, do you think his happiness should come from you? She said, that's a lot of responsibility to just take on someone's happiness. So then Pastor Cal said, you know, people think that, you know, you just be happy, then I'm going to be happy, and then we'll be happy together. But that's not how it works. He said, I'm not responsible for my wife's happiness, but for me to say I'm not contributing to the happiness, that's crazy. Well, Pastor Cal, I have to disagree. I think you are responsible for your own happiness. Okay, your spouse can add to it, but you should be able to be happy without anyone. Okay, child, the whole time he's talking, Michaela is looking like, can we be done, honey? Because she is ready to call it quits, okay? She said, I think we're both trying, but he's complicating. Honey, ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? Pastor Cal said, well, what can be done for him to be safe, to be happy, Zach? Child, at this point, they'd be better off buying a happy meal because ain't no way these two will ever be happy together. Moving forward. Zach goes to meet with Dr. Pepper and he's walking in smiling like he's ready to have a job interview. I said, what is going on? Baby, Zach, one thing I love about Zach and Michaela, the both of them have a beautiful smile. Michaela, when she smiles, it reminds me of when you tickle a baby and they have this big, beautiful smile. That's what her smile reminds me of. And Zach has a beautiful smile as well. And I feel like if the two of them could have made things work, then they would have made some big, beautiful, smiley faced babies. Honey, but we know how it's going to turn out. Okay, let's continue to get into it. So he comes in ready for the interview and whatnot. And she asks where his marriage is. So Zach is telling her they're in a good place now. But to him, it seems like a choice. Like if they do these exercises, then it'll work out. But it's missing an element of meant to be, as opposed to actively choosing to make the marriage work. He said it goes back and forth and forth and back. And he's trying to figure out if he's just trying to convince himself to stay. Honey, and is. So Dr. Pepper said, well, let me tell you a little something about me. I don't think things are meant to be. I think there are opportunities. Well, Dr. Pepper, this was a missed opportunity, okay? And a whole waste of time. She said, so what we did is pick a woman that's good for you. Not only is she attractive and successful and smart, she has a lot of heart. Experts. Michaela could very well be a good match for someone in the WWE, but these two do not need to be together. I would almost venture to say that one of y'all should leave Houston. Because, like, this is just a fool. But in all seriousness, between the lack of maturity, experience in a relationship, and the inability to communicate on both of their parts, okay, they should have never been matched. And Dr. Pepper, a pretty face, does not scream compatibility. Honey, this is a good-looking cast, don't get me wrong. But some of their personalities are ugly. So, I mean, you can be beautiful on the outside all day long, but if you're ugly on the inside and you always acting a fool, then honey, you're ugly. That's just the way things go. So she said, so what answers do you need to say yes on decision day? He said, you know, hanging out and going on more dates. Zach, just say you're not going to say yes on decision day. You are sitting here emotionally distraught. You don't want to say yes on decision day. It's okay. Failure is okay. Okay, this was an experiment. No one knew what match you were going to get. Like, this is just crazy. Zach is afraid to tell the truth. So then he starts to get emotional because he said he realizes that he's a perfectionist and nothing he has ever done in his life is good enough, and he projects that onto his relationships. And including his marriage. Dr. Pepper said, well, that's counterproductive. If only perfect will do, that's not going to work. And let me just say this. I've had that same problem, always expecting perfection in everything I do. I do not expect a partner to be perfect. I've never gone there. But I do understand when people say, I want things to be perfect. I want my life to turn out this way. A prime example of what I mean by that is, I always said to myself, I'm not having a child until I get married. I have to be married and then have the child. And guess what? I got married, I had the child, and life still isn't perfect. I'm still a single mom. So you just never know. There's no right or wrong way to live life. Just live it, honey. YOLO. Shout out to Dre. Moving forward. So Dr. Pepper said there are a few things that we've seen that maybe you can get some direction on from her. One of them is ways to make her feel secure. But what about him? Both of them need security. He doesn't feel like he's secure with her either. She's going to scream, so he feels like he can't be his authentic self. She feels like he's going to leave if she screams, so she can't be her authentic self. Honey, so both of them need security. And judging from this episode, next week they might need security guards. Child is just a fool. Moving forward. He said he wants her to be herself. He doesn't want her tiptoeing around because she's afraid he might change his mind. While Dr. Pepper is talking, I can see this blank stare in his eyes. This process is emotional torture. Like, it's definitely not for the faint at heart. And this cast has been so emotional, so emotionally unavailable that, honey, it's emotions all up and through. 16 days until decision day. Amelia is telling us that she's excited to go meet with Gil because they just got done with their meetings, right? So they get together and Gil asks her how it went. She said, I thought it was going to be boring, but it actually wasn't. No, because you were lit. Of course it wasn't boring. Child, you probably don't even know what Dr. Pepper said. So Gil asked her about being a Debbie Downer, and he said it affects him and his mood, and he don't like that. Okay, so cut it out. He said, why do you get like that? She's like, it's me being an introvert. And so then he said, so what can I do to help you? She said, well, you're already doing it. You make me laugh. You distract me. You make me think about something other than being upset. She said, so what can I do when I get into those moods? He said, don't get into those moods. Baby, these two are crazy. She said, well, what about if I can't and I just get in them? He said, okay, well, I need you to be considerate of others. I need you to be considerate of the people around you. He said, and also you can be more affectionate. Gil is basically telling Mirla, we need to get it popping when you're cranky, okay? A little vitamin D ain't never hurt nobody. And I ain't talking about the sun. Moving forward, these two have come a long way. Zach and Michaela. Zach and Michaela go to meet like two strangers. I was like, child, what is going on here? Child, they didn't even greet each other. They just sat down. So anywho, they talk about their meetings, and he said, he also brought a bucket of tears with him to the meeting. And she was like, why? He said, I realized that I was being a perfectionist and I was putting it off on you. Zach probably always has heavy eyelids because when I cry, I instantly want to go to sleep. Child, I'm like, oh my God, I need to take a nap. Honey, I've been crying. Don't be driving with them heavy eyelids, Zach. Child, this is a fool. That's probably why he spent the night when he went to go get that Apple TV. Ain't no telling what these two got into it. He probably started crying, got back to the apartment, eyes got heavy, child, and he couldn't get back on the I-10. Honey, that's what I think. But that's neither here nor there. That's just a side note. So anywho, they're talking. The whole time he's talking, Michaela got a mean mug on. I think Michaela might suffer from RBF. If y'all don't know what that is, honey, just Google it. Because I myself sometimes suffer from resting bitch face. Sometimes I do. I'm just sitting there when I'm silent and I'm not saying anything and nothing is funny. People are always like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. I'm perfectly fine. But child, it's just the look on my face. You would think I'm upset about something when I'm actually not. Child, it's a disease. Get well soon, girl. So he asked her what questions she had for him. So she said, what's your ideal marriage? He said, well, somebody that makes me feel unbelievably happy. We're cooking, music's playing, the kids are running around. Basically the Huxtables and whatnot. She said, well, my idea of a good marriage is a romantic one where they're partners with some type of goal in mind for their union. So then she said, so what are the goals that you have in mind? So he's telling her that, he could really see them going far. And honey, the whole time she looking at him like lies. But go ahead on and set yourself out, bro. So then he goes, we both see a future with each other. She said, yeah, I hear ya, but I just wish I could shake the hesitation off that I feel, and I have my guard up. He said, you still have your guard up? She said, yeah. He said, oh, I couldn't tell. Honey, I couldn't tell either, especially after the poem last week. Like, what is wrong with y'all? Y'all are so wishy-washy. Like, 1 minute you're like, I'm just so happy with my husband. I love everything. And I couldn't imagine life without him. And I just love him. I could just tell how much Michaela loves me. You know what? I have my guard up and I'm not sure. I'm so upset. I feel like I'm so perfect. And Michaela's not perfect for me. Honey, I'm so lost. Y'all really need to cut this out. Okay? It's getting ridiculous. So he asked how he could make her feel more secure. She said, your words and your actions, they need to match. Because she can see he doesn't see a long-term thing with her. Well, honey, she got that right. Moving forward. Johnny and Bao, 16 days until decision day. Bao goes to see Pastor Cal and Johnny goes to see Dr. Pepper. So he sits down with Dr. Pepper. He didn't even sit down good before he started saying how much he hates it here. I'm like, please get in the seat good, honey. I mean, sit back, relax your shoulders before you start getting into it as you get into it. So then he tells Dr. Pepper that when he's with Bao, he's somebody he doesn't want to be. See, this is what I'm talking about. And when she's with you, she's someone she doesn't want to be. And she's with someone she doesn't want to be with. He said they don't argue well. She said, well, shouldn't that be something you should work on? So Dr. Pepper tells him that he said things that he needs to apologize for. And he said he needs to learn a new way to deal with anger. So Johnny can't even make eye contact with Dr. Pepper. Now, that's very telling. If you sit there with your head down the entire time and you can't even make eye contact with her, that means that you are obviously doing something you're not supposed to be doing. She said, I want him to be able to talk through things differently. So he said, yeah, when we get into arguments, I try to get to the source of the problem and I don't just argue about the problem. He's like, I feel like it's a communication, trust, and a foundation of friendship thing. Johnny, y'all were married at first sight. Okay? Give it a minute. He said it feels like they're constantly arguing about the truth because perception is reality. He feels like they're living the same life and seeing things completely different. So then Dr. Pepper is like, well, we still feel like there's so much that you guys have. You just need to learn how to talk to each other. These experts have one goal in mind, and that's bragging rights. Just to say they've made successful marriages, because even after these people express that they're unhappy at the expense of their mental state, they continue pushing them to make these marriages work. It is no reason to subject Bao to any more Johnny. Okay, we can cut it right here. There's only 3 more episodes left, 2 more, or however more, plus the reunion. Honey, we could really end it right here. So then we see Bao. And Bao says she's going to meet with the experts, but she really feels checked out. She said, Johnny isn't ready for marriage. He knocks me down every chance he gets, and he doesn't appreciate me, and I'm tired of being unappreciated. I know that's right, girl. So she sits down with Pastor Cal. So he was asking her where the marriage is. She said, I feel like Johnny is 80% out the door and that his decision has already been made. Bao said, I feel cheated out of a perfectly good marriage because this could have been a perfectly good marriage. She said, I have a husband on paper and that's it. I am so happy that Bao is finally seeing this dweeb for what he is, okay? A mean-spirited little weirdo. I am so happy your eyes are finally opening, Bao. I am so happy for you. So Pastor Cal is like, he's thrown out a lot of darts and said some pretty ugly things. So then we do a flashback to all the hurt that Johnny has caused verbally. She says she doesn't understand why he cuts her down like he does, and she can see that he's being vindictive, and she does not understand why he is doing this to his wife. She said, I've tried and I constantly get cut down. Johnny is projecting and covering and deflecting his own insecurities onto you, Bao. He is incapable of formulating a thought without trying to hurt you in the process. You have given your all, honey, and this little pipsqueak and his constant demands keep taking you down. Honey, he's doing it to make himself feel better. You have done nothing to deserve this. Nothing. Okay? Even if you weren't trying your best, that still does not warrant verbal abuse. And I'm not changing that. She looked so broken, like her head was hanging down. Girl, sit up. Hold your shoulders back. Honey, do not hold your head down for Johnny. Girl, please. Pastor Cal, these two should not continue. Instead of him telling her to run for the hills, he advises that she ask even more questions to get ripped apart. Pastor Cal goes, how about you just ask like level 1 questions? Because I know there's no intimacy, right? Okay, so just go back to the square one basics. Just play nice. So then Pastor Cal sits in her face and tells her that he has worked with so many couples that have been through worse and are now living in incredible marriages. I'm just going to have to call a spade a spade. This person looked at this woman and said he doesn't like her. That's what we mean when we say make it plain. He said he doesn't like her. How many different ways does he need to say it? If someone tells you they don't like you, they don't like your joy, they don't like your personality, there is no hope. Let me just say this. I was in 2 abusive marriages. Not 1, but 2. Twice. The first one, he was physically abusive. The second one, he was emotionally, verbally, and physically abusive. And they both left scars. Both left psychological scars. Please do not encourage her to stay in an abusive situation. Being broken down and told every day how great you aren't leaves a lasting effect. Honey, this is crazy. I do not understand why you're sitting here telling her you can work through it. Just take a little bit more. Just take a licking and keep on ticking. She's not a Duracell battery, okay? She's a person. She no longer wants to take his abuse. Child, we're moving forward, okay? Moving forward. Brett and Ryan. Brett goes to meet Pastor Cal. He said, is there anything that could happen that would make you say yes on decision day? She said, yeah, it's something, just a little small percentage, because based on the honeymoon, things were different. So then they do a flashback to the conversations they had on the honeymoon. She said, now I'm wondering if he's capable of giving me what I need. I mean, now I'm starting to think about if I want to be with this person for the rest of my life. I know that's right, Britt, honey. Take the matters into your own hands. So then Pastor Cal asked if there was intimate communication. I don't know. Shout out to Ryan. No, the answer is no. There's no intimate communication. These two never talk to each other. Honey, he was afraid to ask to sleep in the spare bedroom. Oh, Pastor Cal, keep up. If y'all were more present, you would know these things. So then Pastor Cal said, ask him to give you a picture of what he thought his wife would have been. Brett, don't do it, honey. You're going to be upset when you get a picture of a Victoria's Secret model, honey. I'm just saying. So Pastor Cal said, let him know you aren't offended if it's not you. She said, oh, I know it's not me. Well, honey, at least she came to terms with it. He said, ask him when he gave up on the marriage. She said, a long time ago. He said, will you be surprised? It was when they got back to the real world, honey. That's when he gave up on it. When reality set in, Ryan was out. He was already checked out when she started acting a fool on that flight. But, the vacation of it all, it brings people closer. But then they weren't getting into it as they got into it. Brett came out of that mom bathing suit, courtesy of Walmart. And then things all went downhill. So, she's right. It was a long time ago. Moving forward. Ryan goes to meet with Dr. Pepper and her little dangly earrings. Okay, Dr. Pepper, with your little grown woman earrings on. I see you trying to be a big girl and whatnot. So Ryan was sitting in front of Dr. Pepper like he was in the principal's office. When I was looking at them, I said, ooh, child, Ryan is sweating bullets. Do y'all hear me? She said, well, it's clear your marriage has gone sideways. Honey, it's very clear. She asked, when did the communication become broken? He said, when Dr. Viviana in her pretty purple dress, when they came over. Dr. Pepper said, so tell me how you tried to deal with what you didn't like, and what did you do to change them? Nothing. Child, Ryan is just waiting it out. Do y'all hear me? Ryan, it is much more hurtful to not hear what it is is the problem than to hear it. Again, use your words. Just tell Brett, I'm not feeling it. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure why. It's not you, it's me. Just give her something, because you're hurting her more by not saying anything. So he said, it's not fun to feel like every conversation is going to be a bad one. So then Dr. Pepper said, Ryan over there acting like Santa Claus, making a list and checking it twice of everything he doesn't like about Brett, yet he won't tell her. You got to tell her what it is that's wrong. Otherwise, how is she going to fix it? So she tells him what we've all been saying. He needs to be more vocal. But my thing is this. Brett, what don't you like about Ryan? Bow, what don't you like about Johnny? Michaela, what don't you like about Zach? Well, we know what Michaela don't like about Zach. But we need to know what the women feel about the men, because the common theme of this season is bow down to the men and just take a back seat to your emotions and your feelings and adapt to whatever it is they feel. And child, that's some foolishness. Dr. Pepper told him, you don't even know each other. You need to dig deeper. I need to see you trying. Ryan just lying to get out of the hot seat. So he's like, I promise you'll see more effort on my end. I promise. Ryan, honey, you can breathe. It's over. It's over, child. Moving forward. Johnny and Bao go to meet. They sit down and he's like, how are things going? She's like, I'm in a different state. So then Johnny tells her he's sorry for saying the hurtful things that he said, and He really said some mean things and he didn't mean it. Girl, don't fall for it, honey. Bao said, thanks. Honey, I know that's right. I would have gave him a dry thanks too. Honey, not a thank you. Nothing in detail, just thanks. Honey, I probably wouldn't even gave him that. Because if it were me, I would have been sitting there straight hush mouth. Say whatever it is you need to say. I'm going to take it all in. Then I'm going to get up before I flip this table over. But that's just me. She said, I want to believe him, but I don't feel like he's being sincere. The only reason he's apologizing is because he sees that you are getting fed up with his BS. That's what I quite frankly feel. It was that mixed with the fact that Dr. Pepper made him. Moving forward. So then he asked her, well, how can we improve communication? She said, I want to be able to voice my opinions without being judged. When she looks back at the arguments, they're really nothing major, and they need to try to see the other person's point of view and see their perspective. She said, and I also want to know that you're willing and you're not going to run away from the relationship. He goes, I haven't run away from the relationship yet. Johnny, you really have a warped sense of reality. You literally told her last episode that y'all are not compatible. You don't like her. She's a liar. She hasn't tried hard enough. Like, what? He's like, I've taken a breather because I don't want it to escalate. I mean, I don't want to, go off because I know I can go there. Johnny, if she asks you the day of the week, you get mad. Then you start telling her she needs to pay more attention to the days of the week. That is a red flag that you can't have simple conversations without losing your mind. Like, I don't know what kind of psychological evaluation they do. I don't know if it says, do you kill bunnies? Do you like to eat raw hay? Like, I don't know what they're asking you, but I am quite sure that you were able to trick the system. Because the fact that you're saying to her that you have not ran from the relationship, but you literally sat down on the first night in the shared apartment while y'all were eating this your gourmet meal, and you got up and told her that you wanted to go decompress at your own apartment. Ciao, goodbye. He said, I need time. Otherwise, I'm going to say something I don't mean. Honey, that's every time y'all sit down to eat. She said, well, I don't want to see a pattern of leaving. He's like, one more question. What can you do to be more present in our marriage? He literally listens to respond. He does not care about anything that Bao has said thus far. Bao said, since you asked me to be more present, I have been, but now I'm turning back around. Baby, he looked at her like, what? You're turning back around. And in that moment, when she said, I'm turning back around, that's when his mind clicked and said, say something to finish her. So Bao goes, I do not want to be spoken to the way that you've spoken to me, and I deserve to be treated with some respect. So I know that's right, Bao, honey. You better speak your speech. You better pipe up and let him know you will not treat me like that. You will not disrespect me. You will treat me with some respect, or you can get the hell on, respectfully. She is not going to allow you to continue verbally abusing her. So she said, you told me you weren't ready for marriage, so where are you now? Honey, same. He's still not ready for marriage. So then he turns around and gut punches her yet again. Because remember, I told you when she said she had turned a corner, that pissed him off. So in his mind, he was thinking, finish her. And this is what he said. He said, I came ready to be married, with a clean slate. But then I saw you and I knew you. And, we could have dated before this, but we didn't. The chemistry just wasn't there the first time 15 years ago because I wasn't attracted to you. That's why there was no second date. I'm convinced Johnny chews chalk. Like, I'm convinced. You were literally drooling over her in the keys. You just want to hurt her and break her down to the point where only your validation can build her back up. And it's sick. Okay? It's giving very much psycho. Okay? It's sickening. So Bao hung her head down. Girl, you better pick your head up. You better not hang your head down over something Johnny Lamb has to say. Johnny Unstable Lamb has to say. Girl, please. She hung her head down so low. Then she lifted her head back up and she had a cup in her hand. Let me tell y'all something. I would have doused that water or whatever it was in that cup right in his face and got up and walked off. Child, I'm gonna try to tear this woman down. She said, I don't know. I can't help but be skeptical by your words, Johnny. Where do you think we should go from here? He should go to hell and you should go to your real place with your roommate. Girl, please. Boy, gone. Moving forward. Rachel and Jose. Child, I forgot all about them. Jose goes to meet with Dr. Pepper and starts Joseing straight away. Honey, that means lying. I couldn't have been matched with a better person. We work well together. We're the best in the West. Honey, everything, all things great. Honey, we're just so wonderful. We're a great team. We communicate well. Jose, stay lying, child. He's like, she's independent though. So how do we find the balance? Like, how do I find the soft spot without her thinking I'm being controlling? Dr. Pepper said, but you are controlling. Yes, Master P. There you go, girl. Nah. Tell him, Master P, you are controlling. Honey, you ain't fooling Dr. Pepper, honey. She gonna call it straight, no chaser. She said, but you are controlling. I've been saying that since review number 2. Because you think your way is the only right way. So she told him he needs to see things like Rachel sees them instead of thinking he has it all figured out. He had nothing to say. Then he gonna say, that was number 1. And then he starts referring to when he had Rachel roaming the halls at 2:00 in the morning as a little fireworks situation. I said, that was not a little fireworks situation. That was you locking your wife out of a shared apartment that you don't pay for. That's what that was. So he breezes past his part. Like, I'm not happy with my behavior, but what scares me is when things get rough, she bounces. You literally cussed her out, then locked her out. She didn't leave because y'all argued over where to eat dinner. Like, Jose, something is wrong with you. So he said, it's tough to trust Rachel being that she rejects me. So my question is, how do I get my wife to trust me? Try not locking her outside. We can start with that. Jose just sitting up here lying to this lady's face. So let's move on. Rachel and her red top, child, they go to lie to Pastor Cal just like Clara did last season. She's like, he's everything I could ever ask for plus more. So Pastor Cal is like, oh my God, that is great to hear. It's a lie and the truth ain't in it. She got a little lying problem as well. She says, she wants to know if she's doing everything that he needs. Oh, child, I just don't understand this, honey. Look, I'm single and I'm single for a reason. So I'm just going to pipe down on that. So then she brings up Jose being evil and vindictive. Pastor Cal is like, oh, he was shutting you out of his world. When he locked you out, he was shutting you out of his world. No, he was shutting her out of that shared apartment that he doesn't pay for. He's like, this isn't your last argument. You do know that, right? She's like, yeah, but if he locks me out again, I'm gone. I didn't sign up for that. I know that's right, child. Pastor Cal, let me find out you condone people locking each other out of their worlds. Rachel, you're saying it right, honey, and I want you to stand by it, okay? Don't just say it. Make sure you stick with it because trust me, you're going to be put outside again. Moving forward. Rachel and Jose, they go to talk. Jose is like, I asked her, how will I know you won't leave again? She's like, that's a valid question. No, it's not. He put you out, girl. Were you there? She asked him, what are your triggers when you call him by his man's name? How do you know his man's name anyway? Calling him by Johnny. Oh, no, ma'am. He said, because, I just need time to cool off. What does that have to do with what are your triggers? Your triggers are you need time to cool off? Like, what are y'all saying, child? Y'all ain't even making no sense at this point. So she tells him, well, I want to be Jose's wife no matter what. Girl, if you want to subject yourself to a life of control and visiting all 4 corners of Texas, then go and set yourself off, child. Moving forward. 15 days until decision day. All the couples go to meet and play sand volleyball. Brett, this is your time to shine, girl. Show them what you made of. So Johnny and Michaela are wearing the same shorts. I was like, look at these little bitty shorts, honey. You got the nerve to say you're not attracted to somebody when you and Bow wear the same size shorts. And you got the nerve to say you're not attracted to her. Oh, boy, please. Boy, gone. So Gil and his princessa, they arrive. Hey, y'all. Here go Gil. As me and my wife are arriving at the courts, I see no sign of Bow, so we see how that's going. Gil, stop. Gil, just get in, boy. Just get in. Baby, then Bow shows up. Dressed like your favorite cheerleader. Do y'all hear me? Bow, bow, bow. Boom, boom, ba-dum, ba-dum, boom, boom, boom. Shout out to Hurricane Chris. When I tell you all eyes were on Bow, okay, if y'all catch my drift. I see Johnny going straight up to Bow to hug her. She's like, Johnny comes up to hug me and I'm surprised. He has a chemical imbalance, girl, clearly. Because I just don't understand what's happening. Like, Johnny acts like my 6-year-old. He's only happy when y'all are playing games. Like, boy, grow up. And the little outfit didn't hurt either, child. So, baby, Brett was all over that court. Even Mirla participated. Honey, Gil put a love spell on Mirla. Do y'all hear me? I do not know exactly what's going down in the bedroom and whatnot, but whatever it is working wonders because Mirla is participating. So everyone is talking about their expert visits. Brett said Pastor Cal was pissed at the fact that Ryan has not even been trying. She said, he said he wants to try, but it's just weird. It's just like a weird vibe. So Bob was like, I feel you, girl, because I'm going through the same thing, except Johnny is mean. She said, he told me Dr. Pepper told him, don't give negative, definitive statements. And then he turns right around and does just that. Johnny is unstable. Let's continue. Ironically, Johnny, Gil, and Zach are kikiing about Bow. I said, oh, child. My, how the tables have turned. Not y'all laughing and talking about Bow. Zach just taking it all in. Oh, child. So then Johnny goes, yeah, my conversations with Bow are very juvenile. Yes, they are, and you are the ringleader. Gil said, well, you know, at the end of the day, you got to be happy. Johnny is like, I haven't been happy in a while. The feeling is mutual, buddy. We haven't been happy in a while throughout this season as well. Honey, Bow ain't been happy. You ain't been happy. None of us are happy. Okay, so we're there. Moving forward, Michaela and Zach. Child, so they get back to the shared apartment, right, y'all? After a fun day out. And now they're arguing about Michaela sleeping in a separate room. She said, you know, we both had made a comment today, and we said that if today was decision day, that we would say no. So I just feel like, why do we need to sleep in the same bed? We just need to sleep separately. Zach is like, why do you need to sleep in a separate bedroom? That's not doing anything. That only hurts us. Zach, you slept in a separate apartment, and that did not help either. And Zach, why do you need her in the bed if y'all not about to be getting into it as y'all get into it? That's what you want her in that bed for, honey. You ain't fooling me. Child, she does not need to lay in that bed if y'all both gonna say no on decision day. Start learning to separate now. So he said, you know, things have been going great. Do you not see an upward trend? It's not the stock market, Zach. It's your marriage. Okay? So Zach ends his diary cam, honey, because he has had enough. And so Michaela starts hers. I'm like, oh, child, y'all so childish, honey. He's cussing. She's like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I said I don't know what I'm going to say on decision day. But beside that, this is just a side note. I see the Zatarain seasoning made an appearance on the counter. So that's a good sign that they're cooking. Child, I'm ignoring this petty fight because y'all just finding things to argue about at this point. 30 minutes later, she asked if he was okay. She was like, I asked if he was okay, and he's not talking to me now. He's on mute. So Zach gets mad, so he's going to sleep at his own apartment. Now, Zach, how is that any different from her sleeping in the spare bedroom? Oh, child, y'all so exhausted. Moving forward. Ryan and Brett. Brett goes to talk to Ryan's sister, child, and she is giving her the tea. So she's like, hey, girl, I ain't seen you in a while. Okay, I need some help. What is going on with your brother? And she's like, well, I don't know. What do you mean? She's like, because things are not getting into it as they should get into it. So his sister asked, when did things flip? And she said, when we got back to Houston. So the sister said, oh, well, maybe being back in Houston, maybe it brought back feelings of someone he likes. Honey, that ex. Okay. So Brett is just sitting here looking befuddled. Brett, the sister trying to put you up on game, girl. It be your own sister. So basically, his sister broke it down that I'm not sure exactly what's happening, but all I can say is that it's not you, it's him. In the final scene, Zach and his brothers are on a Zoom call. Michaela was supposed to join, but honey, of course, you know, Michaela canceled. And he's telling them about the petty argument that they had. And he said he told her, since she doesn't want to sleep in the same bed, that he's going to sleep in his nice bed at his apartment. Nice bed? What are y'all on now? Cots? Like, what's the difference between your bed and their bed? Child, anywho. So then he reads this text that Michaela sent. Baby Michaela said, look, since you leaving, I'm going to one-up you. I'm moving out completely, and I'm taking the Zatarain's Creole seasonings with me. Baby, the seasonings come too. Baby, Michaela is pretty and petty. Do y'all hear me? So his brother said, that's beyond childish. Honey, all of this was childish. This was a silly argument. Y'all shouldn't even be talking about decision day. Just leave it alone. So Zach said, you know, I haven't ever put this much effort into something. And I'm not even mad at Michaela. I'm really more so mad at myself. He said, you know, now that she's gone, I'm just going to do things that make me happy. Well, honey, he didn't lie. And that was the end of the episode. But child, let me tell y'all something. I know that y'all have been giving Zach a hard time through this season. But baby, did y'all see the previews for Hurricane Michaela next episode? Everybody, I'm gonna need you to get some non-perishable food items, some flashlights, some bottled water, because it's about to go down. Y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about Johnny. Please do not forget that we move the live to tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are going to get into it. As we get into it, please come join me, honey, because we got a lot to say. We are opinionated over on this side. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.